Katie and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is very much a requested one. You guys have been asking for me to do a video on this topic as it has completely swept over not only just our community, the autism community, it has basically just taken over the entire world. And that is of course to talk about fidget spinners, what they are, what they're used for, and are they really worth the hype? So let's start off with what actually is a fidget spinner, but I'm sure you guys have seen these things sweeping the internet and also everyday life. But a fidget spinner is a propeller-shaped fidget toy which has ball bearings which spin around. Now, the fidget spinner was designed as a stress-relieving toy, so that has always been its main purpose. But it very quickly became apparent that those on the autism spectrum and those with ADHD may experience even more benefits from the fidget spinner. So this seemingly simple spinner can actually be used in many different situations. It can be used as a distraction tool, as an aid to concentration, but also can be used in self-stimulatory behaviour or in sensory play. So this tiny little spinner actually has quite a few benefits. So there are actually quite a few ways of using a fidget spinner, and it all comes down to personal preference and what you're personally wanting to gain from a fidget spinner. So obviously the first way of using it is to just hold it in one hand and to flick it with your other hand, and this provides quite a good spin and quite good relief. The second way is personally how I like to use my fidget spinner, which is again holding it between your thumb and your index finger and using your middle finger almost to propel it forward and flick in between the little bearings. And then finally you can actually place it on top of a desk or a table or any flat surface and use that as a means of spinning it as well. So this really is just a simple spinning toy, and because of that, people really don't understand the reasons why this has been hyped so much and why people are raving about fidget spinners so much. Because after all, this isn't really on the same level as the fidget cube. There's not much method or intricacy behind the fidget. It is literally just a piece of plastic or metal that spins around. But there are so many interesting and valid reasons why people of all ages and all health backgrounds find this beneficial and useful. But today I'm going to be mentioning a few of the reasons why those in particular on the autism spectrum may find benefit from this little piece of plastic. What very quickly became apparent when I researched fidget spinners and also had the experience of using one myself is that this is very much a self-stimulatory behaviour tool. And if you haven't seen my video where I go into a little bit more detail about what self-stimulatory behaviour actually is, otherwise known as stimming, I will link it up here for you and down below. And like I said in that video, a stim is usually a physical movement or action that is performed repetitively, and the repetition is really what is key and is important when it comes to stimming. And when we relate that back to the fidget spinner, this can definitely be a simple action or movement that can be repeated. Whether you do it in one hand or two hands, you can continuously spin this around in a repetitive motion, and that is very much stimming. But what I love even more is that fidget spinners are safe self-stimulatory behaviour, because as I mentioned in my other video, self-stimulatory behaviour or stimming can often become self-injurious, as our bodies are not really equipped to do anything physical or any kind of movement or action over and over and over again, and this can cause injury, pain and discomfort. But something as small as just spinning this around in your hand, you get that self-stimulatory satisfaction without the self-injurious behaviour. And like I said before, the fidget spinner actually has a lot of perks and benefits when it comes to sensory play as well. And for me, this is definitely a 3-in-1. Kind of like the 3 propellers, for me it has 3 sensory benefits. The first is obviously that it's tactile, so for all the tactile seekers out there like myself, it's great to keep your hands busy, to keep you occupied with something, to have something to fidget. I am very much a tactile seeker, and this is very much a tactile toy. And the second perk is the fact that it does make a very subtle sound. Not so much that you need to be self-conscious of making too much noise around other people, but it does make a very subtle, soft whirring sound, and I find that quite soothing, so I get like an auditory seeking response from this as well. And finally, I definitely believe this is also a visual aid, because not only does spinning actually become quite mesmerising and you become quite engrossed in this hypnotic movement, but also you may have seen that fidget spinners come in lots of different colours, materials, designs, shapes, but you can also find ones with LED lights as well, so when you spin them they become like this LED light show spectacular extravaganza, and it's definitely a great tool for all you visual seekers out there as well. So you do definitely get 3 for the price of 1 in this little toy. What's great about the fidget spinner now is that these have very much integrated into our community, not just the autism community, but the community as a whole, society, this whole world now knows what these things are. And being out in public and having a little fidget spin or taking this on the go with you, you're not really going to get any looks. It's not seen as different, it's seen as something cool, as something that people do, and it's kind of really nicely integrated into our society to the point that those on the spectrum, both children and adults, can take this out without feeling odd or different or self-conscious. So there we have it really, that was a nice in-depth video all about the fidget spinner, and I really hope you guys have enjoyed it, so let me know by giving it a thumbs up. This was definitely a very much requested video, so I hope I've done it justice for you guys and you've taken something away from it. But let me know in the comments below what your opinions are on fidget spinners, whether you've tried them, whether you haven't, whether you thought they were too hyped up, or whether you just thought they were good for autism awareness. Let me know in the comments below,